this funk. Thoughts deep, boys steeped in the depths that he sunk. Big stress, depressed in the middle of fall. Sky gray, high late in the thick of it all. I wonder, how long can a human survive just staying alive or carrying the rest of the tribe? Waiting for the day to arrive or struggling dies, and I be doing way, way more than getting by. So why? Cop myself a cup of coffee, sipping water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, cop myself a cup of coffee, sipping water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Life is so much more than just living a day. Every day I can sit and reflect and breathe and connect to myself and all that I've been given. See, giving up is not an option. So when I'm looking at gray skies, I'll be adopting a new way to deal with a test. Lord, relieve me of stress and bring me looking like when blessings drop in. And so I got myself a cup of coffee, sipping water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, here we go. Yeah, let's do this. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. In times of test, let no harm beset me, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. In times of test, let no harm beset me, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Woo.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Salute. Happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday. Appreciate y'all tuning into the podcast today. I am Urban. Now, this young lady right here has been creating a whole ruckus in the media outlet. This lady I'm talking about right here is Miss Carlee Russel right here. Now, I know I don't have to go into, details about her, about what happened to her, about the whole situation. I don't think I need to go into detail because I know a lot of y'all already know what's going on with that. All right. So the goal of this podcast tonight is that I want to give y'all a different perspective about what was happening other than what is being presented right now. Okay. Now I listened to several other outlets, including news media outlets. I also had listened to several content creators talk about this topic as well too, and different things like that. I've been on TikTok, I've been on Facebook, everywhere, listening to this story, and we all could gather that at the end of the day, this particular story is pretty much what it is, what it's presenting itself to be. But however, tonight on this podcast, I want to give y'all a different perspective that I've been researching about. All right. And this perspective that I'm going to give y'all is going to correlate exactly, perfectly about what was happening with this Carlee Russel situation. All right. So if y'all interested into it, then by all means tune in right now. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you're able to share me out as well too, because I'm figuring ready to break this thing down, and I'm physically ready to give y'all what really is going on in this situation. All right. So appreciate everyone tuning in. TaylorMade, I see you in the chat right now. Salute, welcome. Thank you. Waving. Thank you. Appreciate that. And everybody else who are watching right now, this live right now, and everybody who gonna catch the replay of this live as well too. Salute to y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this podcast. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into this. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, I just like I say, I've been watching a lot of people want to cover this, right? But one of the key things that I really haven't been seeing people talk about is asking the question, why? Once again, I haven't seen people really dive into asking the question, why? Why Carlee Russel ultimately end up staging this whole entire event for her? Now, there have been a lot of different speculations that, like I stated earlier, when some people say that she was having relationship problems. Some people were saying other things as well too, but that really don't, to me, satisfy my curiosity about the why. Why did she do what she do? Okay. So throughout my research, I dug deep and I literally found out the reason why. And the reason why, when I present it to y'all, is going to make you think about this in a different perspective. All right? It's going to make you scratch your head saying, you know what, Urban, that is not so far-fetched at all. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, the first thing that I want to do is that I know many of y'all already seen, the different videos, stuff like that, but I got to bring up footage to go ahead and articulate and bring home to the point that I want y'all to understand what's going on. All right. So we're gonna bring up videos. We're gonna bring up different footages, and this time around, I want us to listen to this with a critical ear. Okay. I don't want you to just listen to it based on what people originally said about it. All right. I wanted you just to listen attentively, and I'm gonna stop it through these videos. I'm stopping as well too, and I'm gonna highlight key points about what people was doing and what people were saying as well too. So let's go ahead and bring these videos up, and we're gonna dive into this. All right, we're gonna dive into this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. All right. So the first video I'm gonna bring up. This is the video of her parents. All right. This is during the middle of the search where they're trying to look for her, and I want y'all to pay close attention to the things that they're talking about. All right, and I'm gonna point them out too. So let's go.
She's a godsend. Bubbly personality, loving heart, giving, just joyful in nature.
She's a fighter too. She's joyful and she's laid back, but if it's a chance for her to put up a fight to try to save her life, she's gonna do everything she can to put up a fight. And I was telling my husband and I were talking today. She was just so happy. Or yes.
Now let me stop right there, and then I'm gonna start it back again. But I want y'all to pay attention to this. Okay, so here's what's happening. The reporter had asked for them to describe their daughter to them. But the reporter had asked them to describe her daughter using adjectives. Now we know that whenever you use any type of adjective, it brings home a message, or conveys a message, or it brings more emphasis to a certain message or to a certain topic. Now notice the type of adjectives that they're using to describe their daughter. And I also want you to pay attention to their behavior, why they describing their daughter. All right, so let's hear it again.
She's a godsend. Bubbly personality, loving heart, giving, just joyful in nature.
She's a fighter too. She's joyful and she's laid back, but if it's a chance for her to put up a fight to try to save her life, she's gonna do everything she can to put up a fight.
Now I'm gonna stop right there again. Now, once again, let's pay attention to the adjectives that they're using. They're using every type of positive adjective to emphasize the characteristics of their daughter. But one key component that I want y'all to pay attention to is this, is that they are hesitant in describing their daughter. The video it's up tailor-made. This particular video is low. This is kind of the highest I can want to get it, because this particular video is like really low. This particular video is kind of low. But once again, notice that they are hesitant in describing their daughter. Now, those of us who are parents, right, we could describe our children within a heartbeat, where they are. How's your child? Oh man, my child is happy, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that, whatever. And we wouldn't hesitate. We wouldn't have to sit up here and think about it, because we know our children very well. But in this particular segment, right, it was as though as both her mother and father was hesitant in describing their daughter. And the reason why I'm pointing this out to y'all, because there's a reason behind this, all right? There's a certain reason behind this, and there's a certain agenda that's happening behind this. But let's continue. And I once again tell you, man, I do have this turn like all the way up, but this video that's low, all right? This particular video, all right? Hey, PMP, what's up? Salute. And salute to everybody else who are tuning in as well, too. So bear with me, y'all, on this one.
I was telling my husband and I were talking. Today she was just so happy, or yesterday, she was just so happy. All the way up until I talked to her at 9:19, she was just so happy. And anybody that knows our daughter knows she loves food. And the fact that she was willing to give me her meal because they left her meal off meant a lot to me. And when she got home, I was gonna give her a big hug and tell her thank you, because I know you love your food.
Now, another question that y'all need to ask yourself is this, is that why in the end her mom brought it home and started talking about how the way she's a fighter. Then not only she was talking about how she was a fighter, but she was also emphasizing about the food. Now, why is the food important to them relaying this message about how the way their daughter is? There's a reason behind this, y'all. Because those of y'all who look at the original footage that I'm about to show y'all again about, you know, when they was doing the interview and stuff, when they found her vehicle on the street, they said that after when she, you know, went shopping, did what she did and stole all these items and stuff, right, she went and got food. Now, the reasoning behind that is that her mom is saying that to try to correlate with Carlee's story, to make the story as authentic as possible, to make it appear that Carlee got this food for the simple fact that she was getting for her mom, to show how dependable of a daughter that she is. Okay, so we're gonna break this thing down even more. So I'm gonna show y'all another video. Now, this video, I know y'all are familiar with this video, but this is the video that I'm gonna show y'all now. This is the actual interview with the law enforcement, where they had to give the information out to the public or their findings of their investigation. Right? So this particular segment that I got, I cued it to the question part, because I believe that the question segment is very, very important. And I believe that a lot of people missed out on some key components that was said in this investigation, all right? So we finna break this thing down. I'm gonna kind of turn this down, because I know this video gonna be loud. Turn this down just a little bit. Say that hot silent, yeah. Yeah, not for the dad though, huh? Yep, facts. But yeah, I want y'all to pay attention attentively to what they're saying in this investigation, all right? And it's gonna, trust me, this is gonna make sense to when I bring all this home with y'all, all right?
In connection with right now, our focus is to determine those 49 hours, so the investigation continues. So to be perfectly honest with you, that hasn't even entered our mind or been discussed.
One more question. Is it surprising to you that the family has not been cooperative in returning to be questioned?
Well, I think the family has stated to us that they didn't think that in her mental state right now, because of trauma of the incident, that she's not ready to talk, is what we've been told.
Okay, let me point this part out to you where he's talking about, all right? And I did research on this, all right? So according to criminology, right, what the law enforcement do after a kidnapping case or a abduction case is this: they do what is known as a welfare check. Many of y'all are aware of welfare checks, right? This is when, local law enforcement officer, they'll get a report of, certain type of potential criminal activity happening in wherever area, whether it's in your home or wherever the case may be at. And someone will call the law enforcement officer out to conduct a brief interview to see if everything is okay. This is basically what the law enforcement agent did with Carlee, is that they did a welfare check on her and her family. And in a welfare check, they only bound to certain parameters, okay, that they can investigate based on the nature of the situation. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out to y'all is because notice what he said. He immediately said that due to Carlee's mental state, that they was only limited to certain type of questions of the investigation. And this is according to not only their policy as law enforcement agency, but this also is important for federal policy as well for them to do this. Now, the reason why I mention this is because all this is important, okay? So let's dig deep.
Question for Chief. You stated that the abductor had orange hair. Was this abductor black male? Was it female? Black female? White female?
I believe it's a white male. Am I correct by saying that? Was it ever? Yeah, white male.
Is this alleged abductor yet on the loose in the Hoover area?
Don't believe so.
All right, so let's dig into this. Now, the next reporter had asked the race of this alleged abductor. Okay, they said through their investigation that that the abductor was a white male, and this also according to Carlee's story as well too. All right, this is important. All right, so two key components is very important in this. First of all, in the investigation, they did a welfare check. Part of the welfare check is that she declared that she was mentally unfit to conduct an interview. The next component of this is dealing with the race. She stated during a brief interview that she was abducted by a white male. Okay? And I also want y'all to keep in mind that all this situation, this story, which we know without a shadow of doubt, that this whole entire story is being fabricated, all right? But it's a reason behind it. All right? So stay with me. Stay with me. Let's get it.
Chief Brittany Dion, WBRC, has a toxicology report been done, and were any drugs or illegal substances found in her system?
We have no report of that.
All right, so the next reporter is asking, did they do a toxicology report? Because the reason why the reporter is asking this is because that's also part of their policy to do that. But since Carlee had declared that she's mentally that she's mentally unfit to conduct the interview, by proxy, they have to deny her of the toxicology report. But let's go. Let's do it.
Indication of mental illness in this case?
Not that I'm aware of.
There's been a concern in the community that if this turned out not to be a true story, that the next time a young woman of color was that it might not be taken seriously, how would you respond to that?
I'd respond to say that we investigate every crime to the fullest, just like we have this one.
And this the next detail that I want y'all to pay attention to that's very important. The reporter had asked, okay, let's say that this whole situation is a fabrication. What will be the response of your city or any type of law agency in the nation? Would they still take this situation seriously, especially if it's a woman of color or a black woman? His response say, we're going to do the same as that thing. But once again, all these details, I want y'all to keep in your head. I want y'all to think about this, all right? So we already heard about her mental state, told y'all about the toxicology report, told y'all about the race, which was important, which was a white male, allegedly. And now we're making it a situation about an actual race, black women. Now, all this is going to build into what I'm going to present to y'all, all right? So let's go.
Was she traveling with anyone? Excuse me. Was she traveling with anyone since the time she disappeared, to your knowledge?
And not to my knowledge.
Chief, I know you said you weren't able to verify a lot of aspects of the story. Where do you think she went, and how would you characterize what happened here?
You know, that's the $100 question. You know, we pretty much know exactly what took place from the time she left work until she got on the 911 call, and we can see getting out of the car on the interstate from that footage. And after that, I think she only knows. We don't know.
Well, one quick follow-up. Her parents. Did you speak with Carlee's parents, and why do you think it is they were so adamant that there was an abductor?
Yeah, I think parents are believing what their daughter's saying, and we've had a very good rapport with the parents, met with them on several occasions. I've talked to them today a few times, and to make them understand that we're under pressure from our community, not only in our community of the state, but nationally when the story hit. And I just wanted them to understand that.
Let me stop it right here, too. I want y'all to understand something also. Notice the type of verbiage that he's using. He said that he wanted Carlee and her family to understand the urgency behind this. He said the urgency from who? The community. He said that his agency was forced to do a press conference because of what? The community wanted him to do a press conference, not because of the actual situation at hand, but because of the community. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, who is the community? Who is the community that he's talking about? Is he talking about Hoover? No, it's not just the Hoover community. It's not just that. It's deeper than that, y'all. It's way deeper than that. And there's one other thing that he's going to say. I'm going to play it, then I'm stopping it again. I'm pointing it out to y'all.
Today, we were going to have a press conference, and what we were going to detail today are facts. And everything that I've told you today is actual facts. It's not innuendos. It's not what I think. It's not what these detectives think. It is the factual information that we have.
Notice how he overemphasized the word facts. He overemphasized it. There's a reason why he did it. He overemphasized the word facts, and he also emphasized that, hey, this is not something I'm just making up, I'm thinking about. This is not something that other detectives is thinking about. These are the actual facts. It's a reason why he's saying that. The reason why he's saying that is that he is helping Carlee paint this story, to paint this chapter. Just like I said, I want y'all to think about this critically, all right? So let's go. And I'm going more in detail about that facts thing in a little bit, but I want to build this up for y'all.
Well, I think our detectives have talked to the parents, and we're ready. We're ready to talk as soon as she's ready. So, she called right now. We're ready.
And here's another thing too. Here's another question y'all need to ask yourself. Since when in law enforcement history have they ever gave a person the option to be ready to be conducted in on an interview or interrogation? Since when had that ever happened? We'll just wait on you whenever you're ready, whenever you feel like doing it. She could say that she ain't gonna be ready for the next year, because sometimes how women are sometimes, right, where they could be quote unquote so traumatized with the situation that they'll never hear from me until about 5 years later. So what's gonna happen? They're gonna wait 5 years later for her to say something? But once again, I want y'all to think about this, all right? Let's go.
Ooh, how about unknown? We know the facts that we have. Everything else is unknown at this time.
What have the
word facts again?
been like for you, your department? This has been a stressful search, hasn't it?
Well, absolutely. And again, the focus of the investigation that Thursday when she went missing, of course, the focus was to get Carlee home. That's what we wanted her safe and sound. And that's all happened. And then, of course, this has gotten to be not only a local, state story, but a national story. So, it is. It's a lot of stress on everyone in the Hoover Police Department, and the mayor, to every citizen here. We want to know the truth.
Now, like I say, I'm building this up for y'all. All right. Now, notice what he's saying now. He using the verbiage of, hey, we just wanted to make sure that she's safe. Now, according to Hoover Police policy, it is a policy whenever they deal with any type of victim-like situation or kidnapper type situation, it's their policy that they want to make sure that the person is returned safe. That's why he's emphasizing that. Now, when the reporter was asking, like, okay, I know this had to be a stressful situation, right? Is the reason why they're saying this. Because once again, the reason why they're saying this is because they're building a story for y'all. They're painting a picture for y'all. On one end of the story, they're painting the picture that Carlee, she's this type of one person that she's been through a traumatic event and they want you to feel sorry for her. That's the first chapter of the story. And that's what everybody was going through the first chapter of the story. Is that Carlee, she's this African-American black woman who's involved with a kidnapping or been abducted. Now, the next chapter of the story is that, okay, now since she's back and we quote unquote said that she's safe, now it's time for us to paint a new story. The new chapter is that instead of her being revered as the hero, now they are revering her as the villain. And there's a reason behind it, y'all. This is also the reason why they're going into the story talking about the stress part. I know this had to be stress. Y'all didn't use all your resources, to do this. And let me ask y'all this question too. Since when have it been, well, let me ask y'all this way. Have y'all ever, in any type of case like this, dealing with this, have y'all ever heard on the media where a local town will literally go as far as using the FBI secret services to find someone? The only time I heard stories like this, if this was a high-profile person, like it was a celebrity or a person who at a high status, like this person is a millionaire, a billionaire, or something like that, or some type of person who's at a high rapport, high status, and their family is on the same level. That's the only time I heard them using resources like the FBI, the Secret Services, and all that. But once again, the reason why I'm pointing this out to y'all because it's a reason behind this. All right, let's go.
Stand here, are you frustrated?
I wouldn't say I'm frustrated. I mean, I'm very happy that Carlee's home. That was the main ingredient here, and then we'll figure it out. I promise you that. We'll end up figuring it out.
Any idea about the number of manpower hours or the expense of the drones and all the rest of the search that might have cost the city and the state and the federal government?
Yeah, we haven't had time to consider that, but it's again, these detectives that are here. This is just a small group of people that have been associated with this case. We have put every available resource that we have on this case because we wanted to make sure that we found out everything. We wanted to get her home, and we have.
Chief, was there any prior indication of mental health problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you just expand on the
Now, notice the emphasis on mental health. They keep re-emphasizing on mental health, not to say that she's on, quote unquote, crazy. But they're using that for a reason. They're using that for a political reason. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm gonna want to point this to y'all. All right. I said this before on my podcast talking about mental health, right? But I'm gonna reemphasize this again. Do y'all remember almost like years ago, right? I think it was almost like 2 or 3 years ago, probably longer than that, when they had this whole push about mental health. Where they really started, this push like, hey, get your mental health. You need to take your mental breaks and blah, 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 and all this stuff, right? What they end up doing is that they end up incorporating mental health into policy. And so that's the reason why they're emphasizing this. And that's the reason why Carlee had took the deal of saying that she's mentally unstable. I'm gonna throw a curveball on y'all too. I honestly believe that whoever Carlee and her family is in contact with, whether it's her attorney, whether it's even the local law enforcement, whether it's even the FBI or whatever, I believe that they told her to say that you can't be able to do this investigation because of mental health issues. Because they know that if she were to do that and conduct this investigation, then it would look bad on the police. Then hence, we'll be having a different story where now it's dealing with police brutality again. But I'm going to play for more minutes of this video. Then I got another video that I'm going to carry up to y'all. Then I'm going to bring all this home to y'all for real. And I'm going to show y'all the real agenda of what's really going on.
people from the state, federal resources brought in, what were they doing exactly as you all were searching for her? Can you just expand on that?
Sure. A lot of the from the FBI side, several agents helping us interview. I mean, as you well know, in a case like this, especially when it goes national, we got hundreds and hundreds of calls. And when you get those calls, some of them may just be outlandish, but you got to follow up on them because you never know that you may get that one tidbit. And I'd also say too that we had a great cooperation with the family. The family received hundreds and hundreds of tips, and every time they got a tip, they sent it to us.
Would you say a crime has been committed?
No, we have not determined that. No.
Keith Mims, WAGG 610 Summit Media. Question for Chief. With all of the searches that you mentioned, Chief, that were on Carlee's phone, does that kind of give you an indication of her mind state during this ordeal, the 48 hours that she went missing?
Well, again, we want to talk in facts, and I do think it's highly unusual to the day that someone gets kidnapped, that 7 hours, 8 hours before that they're searching the internet, Googling the movie Taken about an abduction. I find that very, very strange, yes.
All right, and I'm going to stop it right there because I want to make this last point about what he just said, all right? Now, earlier, when they was trying to give you the initial report so they found this right, he had mentioned about her search history, right, from her phone. He mentioned that she was searching about, the movie Taken. He mentioned about that she was searching about, about what would happen if you do a false Amber Alert and all these other different things. Once again, all this stuff is important. And I believe that people overlook that, because the reason why people overlook that is this. The media, local law enforcement agents, federal law enforcement agents, secret services, and all these other people, right? They have one commonality. Their one commonality deals with organizational behavior. Now, in my studies as a sociologist, one of the key things as a sociologist, we study psychology. All right, we study how the way we can manipulate people into believing a story and to get people emotional invested into a story. Part of this study is called organizational behavior, where it deals with on a macro level, dealing with business and stuff. And the reason why I'm using organizational behavior is because this situation is dealing with in a macro level with business and everything like that. This whole situation is nothing more of a business plot to get people emotionally invested into something. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, Urban, what is they trying to get us emotionally invested into? What is it? What is it? Before I reveal that to you, I have one more video that I'm going to share with y'all. This is the video of Carlee's mother and father again, after when they done found her, right? And I want y'all to listen attentively to this video, all right?
You all first laid eyes on her again. What was it like?
To me, I mean, just so much joy. And just
This morning, and
Once again, y'all remember when I pointed out earlier, when they did their first interview, right? I pointed out that the reporter wanted them to use adjectives to describe their daughter. Once again, this reporter is doing the same exact thing. They told them to use adjectives to describe their daughter again in this interview. Same as that concept. But the whole thing about it is that I want y'all to pay attention, because they reveal more details in this video that I believe a lot of people missed out on. All right.
an exclusive sit-down with NBC News. The parents of 25-year-old Carlee Russel are speaking out, describing
P, what's up with it?
the moment their daughter appeared on their doorstep after being missing for more than 48 hours.
What did you do when you saw her?
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back.
Notice what she said. She said she tried to hug her the best way she could, but she had to stand back. Why would she say that? The reason why she said that is because during the interview with the law enforcement agency, right? They had a lot of media outlets, right, was posting their stuff on YouTube. And so while they was showing their findings to everybody on YouTube, right? One of the main questions that everybody was asking was that, okay, what did you do the moment when you seen your daughter? What was the first thing that you do? Because out of behavior, right, normal behavior, you will immediately go and embrace your daughter or embrace your child, especially when you know that she dealt with a traumatic experience. This is the reason why she is saying that. The reason why she is saying that is because she is regurgitating what was already being said to convey a point. So I'm playing back just a little bit and let's get it.
Her.
We tried to hug her as best we could, but I had to stand back because she was not in a good state. So we had to stand back and let medical professionals work with her.
Now, here's another question that I want y'all to ask yourself too. She said that she wasn't in a good state. She didn't say she wasn't in a good mental state. She said that she wasn't in a good state. So what is she talking about when she said she wasn't in a good state? A good state could mean anything. She wasn't in a good state, meaning that she was hungry and she didn't feel like talking to you. It can mean anything. But I believe the reason why she said she wasn't in a good state is because I believe her mom had forgot her script. She forgot her line. And that's why the father had to go back and say, yeah, the medical personnel, and rubbing on the back, the medical personnel. But even then, he didn't emphasize if the medical personnel was a doctor or a psychologist or anyone who's on the scene or a social worker. Because also, remember when I was telling y'all, when they was making that huge push about mental health about 3 or 4 years ago, especially during the whole pandemic thing, right? And prior before that, now that I think about that, prior before that, they was also making that mental health push when we was dealing with all their protesting and stuff too, right? And so they start assigning social workers to the scene. So the law enforcement officer wouldn't necessarily engage a person, especially a person who have mental health issues, okay? So it is very likely that in this situation, not only they had law enforcement officers there, they may have had the FBI there too, but it is very likely that they had social workers there too. So once again, the question is, why are they saying this? But it's a reason why.
But it's okay.
Last Thursday, police say Carlee called 911 to report a toddler walking alone on the interstate. She pulled over. Also, PNP, I was in your live earlier, and this is the point that I was making to you too. If you look at this video right here, now, according to state and federal law, it is a requirement for all moving vehicles to reduce their speed to 45 miles an hour whenever they see a vehicle with their hazard lights on in the lane where the vehicle is at, automatically. While on the phone with a family member who described hearing Carlee scream.
Her vehicle's unlocked, running, all her personal belongings except for her phone.
On the scene, police found no sign of Carlee or a child, and they say no children were reported as missing during that time period. The Russells waited in agony until Saturday night.
There were actually just so many calls and texts from people who maliciously lied to us. I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Listen to what she's. I'm playing again, and I'm bringing a point home to this too. Just like I say, there's a reasoning for all this, y'all.
I just didn't know people could be so evil.
Why would she say that? Now, once again, the whole situation is supposed to be about her daughter being abducted, allegedly. So why now she's on her mom on national TV getting emotional about what people are saying about her daughter? If she know that what her daughter is the truth, what she's saying is the absolute truth, and as they've been emphasizing that it's facts, then you shouldn't even be worked up about what people are saying about it. It shouldn't even matter because you know it's facts. But it's a reasoning behind it, y'all.
Authorities have not indicated where Carlee was during the 48 hours she was missing or what happened. Her parents declined to share what their daughter told them, citing the ongoing investigation.
And can you tell me what happened Saturday night? Did you just get a knock at the door?
Anything leading to the case itself, we can't discuss that.
And there's a reason why. Anything leading to the case, they cannot discuss that. Now, also pay attention to this. Notice once again, they did not say that according to our attorneys, we are limited of discussing certain things about the case. Or they could have simply said, any questions that you want to have about this case, you could direct it to our attorney. Or they could have simply had the attorney representing them for this interview. Because keep in mind now, once again, what that law enforcement officer said earlier, right, that we just watched, right? They said that he said that the parents and Carlee was not ready to talk. But now they're allegedly ready to talk. Once again, there's a reasoning behind it. And if they felt so uncomfortable of talking about this situation, that goes to my point again, is that if they had an attorney, that attorney could have been a representative for them on their behalf. But they didn't do that. And there's a reason why.
But they say speculation about the circumstances surrounding Carlee's disappearance are only making things worse.
She's having to deal with the trauma of people just making completely false allegations about her.
Her family now urging the public to let the investigation play out.
Listen, they're urging for y'all to let the investigation play out. In other words, they're telling y'all to shut the hell up. Let us run this story how the way we want to run it. Now, notice what I said earlier. In the beginning, they had Carlee as the victim or the hero. Now, in this next part, the next chapter of the story, now they trying to paint Carlee as being the villain. And so while they doing it, they also is emphasizing like, hey, we don't want y'all to go too far in this, right? Because it's a point that we're trying to make with y'all, all right? And we don't want y'all to miss the point. So that's why they're saying what they're saying. So they're saying all of us, content creators and everybody, y'all needed to shut up. We know what we're doing. But let's go.
But mentioning an abductor, her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives her statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
I ain't trying to be funny, y'all, but did it not look like that she was reading from a script? Look, let me rewind it back. And look, now in the beginning of this, right, she was looking directly at the reporter, right? Now look, don't look like she's reading from a script now. Look.
But mentioning an abductor, her mother asking to read a brief message to the public.
Carlee has given detectives
Oh, they said that she was asked to read a brief message so they could cover up that they gave her a script to read. So yeah, she was reading from a script, y'all.
Statement so that they can continue to pursue her abductor.
Do you believe that there's an abductor still out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
NBC News has reached out to the Hoover Police Department to ask whether they're looking for an individual involved. Police have just said they're following up on all information provided by Carlee.
And
they said that they still believe that it's an abductor out there. And they also said that they believe in everything that Carlee said, not based on their findings as law enforcement agency, but they only believe in what Carlee said, and that's it. Don't that seem strange to y'all?
Talked to you all on Saturday. You also said your daughter is a fighter and she would find a way back to you.
I felt that in my heart.
Is that what happened?
She did. She found her way back to us. However, we can't discuss the details of that.
And once again, she's emphasizing about her daughter being a fighter. Remember I said that earlier about when they was using all them adjectives, right? And now they're emphasizing that. It's a reason,
One thing is clear.
Do you believe she was fighting for her life?
Oh, she definitely fought for her life.
There were moments when she physically had to fight for her life, and there were moments when she had to mentally fight for her life.
And one last thing too, and I'm gonna bring home my point of this podcast tonight about this situation. All right. One last thing that I want y'all to pay attention to is the father. Why was the father didn't say anything? Hell, he didn't even need a mic, to be honest. Why he wasn't saying anything? The reason why he wasn't saying nothing is because the father is not a good emotional actor versus the mom. This dude, emotional skills is at zero. You could tell by looking at him that he don't have no type of attachment. He don't have no type of emotions, and they saw that. So they're like, sir, let's show that you being in a supportive role, all right? Let's do that. Let's do that. You don't have to speak. We're not gonna give you any lines. We're not gonna give you a script. We're gonna give out the script to your wife. Because it seemed like she could convey the emotions better, because we want to capture the emotions of the audience. We want the audience to be captured by the story, whether she's the victim or the villain. We want that type of emotion. And you're not giving that to us. All right? So let's chill. Let's chill out. And that's what he was doing. So let's bring it home, y'all. This is the point that I want to convey to y'all tonight. And we first know I'm finna really break this down to y'all, all right? The reason why I say that this whole entire thing is staged is because there's an agenda behind this. There's an absolute agenda behind what is going on. These people want us to be so emotionally invested, right? Where we look over the subtle stuff that is happening. So you should be asking yourself this. Well, what is it, Urban? What is it? What is it? What is it they trying to tell us? This is what they're trying to tell us, y'all. I don't know if y'all familiar with this, but I'm going to show it to y'all. And this is what they're trying to tell us. Are y'all familiar with this movie? Those y'all who are watching right now, are y'all familiar with this movie? And Taylor May, I guarantee you this is not a conspiracy. This is truth. All right. Are y'all familiar with this movie? I'm pretty sure y'all not. I'm pretty sure that y'all not familiar with this movie. It's only a certain type of audience who is familiar with this movie, all right? Now, the name of this movie is called Sound of Freedom. This movie came out during 4th of July weekend. And I'm going to give you the backstory of everything about this movie because I got clips of this too. But this movie came out during 4th of July weekend. Just about every movie theater and every media outlet was shadow banning this movie. Y'all should be asking the question, why? Why would they shadow ban a movie? Glad you asked that question. The reason why they shadow ban this movie is because the movie Sound of Freedom is uncovering the truth about human trafficking. This movie reveals the truth about different people who was involved in human trafficking. It illustrates a realistic version of everything that was happening with human trafficking. So the media outlets, right, they deemed this movie as being inappropriate. And so they were shadow banning this movie. Now, y'all remember y'all remember the movie Passion of the Christ, right? The same actor who played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, he is he the one who not only wrote this movie, but I believe that he's in this movie too. The reason why that they're doing this and all this is connected is because the people, right? We call it in the political realm the left or the far left. They wanted to have this huge push about trafficking, but it wasn't getting enough attention the way they want to because the other people didn't want to talk about this. And so what they started doing, they started focusing in on dealing with a certain race, preferably black women. This is the reason why when y'all go onto y'all Facebook pages and stuff, right, or Instagram or even TikTok, whenever you hear about human trafficking, right, who y'all heard about? Young black women. But it didn't get enough push on it. So therefore, this particular story was the fuel that they need to push this agenda about human trafficking. To get us so afraid and so emotionally attached about the situation that we're going to take action on this. This is the reason why in the beginning they painted Carlee as being the victim. This is why right now they're hinting that Carlee is the villain. Because they want y'all to be aware of it. Is there a abductor? No. There's no abductor. Because if it was, Carlee would have gave a more detailed description of this alleged white dude. Besides him having orange hair. And she said that it gave a race for a reason too. And this is to push that narrative about human trafficking, preferably with black women. That's what this is about. And y'all think I'm lying about this movie, right? I'm gonna show y'all. Just show y'all that I'm not lying about this. That I'm dead serious about this for real. I got a series of clips, right, where they was literally shadow banning this movie in theaters. That's why y'all don't know about it. But I got a series of different clips of them doing this. All right. So I want y'all to listen to these series of clips that I'm gonna present to y'all. Okay. As soon as I get them queued up. All right, so this is the first clip.
With our projector, we had to wait for it to download the movie. It's going to be about 30 minutes.
Now, this first clip that I'm showing to y'all tonight, basically what they're saying is that people been having problems on going and see this movie, right? I'm below that where y'all can see it. But people been having problems going to the movies. Every movie theater that was trying to show this movie, right? The movie theater mysteriously had things going on with it. Whether it was AC power or the movie wasn't showing or the audio wasn't showing. Something of that nature was happening with these with the showing of these movies. So this is the first clip of it. And this is the manager talking about it. All right. I'm below this all the way up, so I'll see it.
With our projector, we had to wait for it to download the movie. It's going to be about 30 minutes. Everyone in here is going to get a free film pass. If you want to leave, that's understandable. I'll go do a refund. I can help you. But for now, we're going to have to wait for the movie to download.
Can you change it to another theater?
I don't think so. This is the only one that has it for tonight.
So how do we get the free pass?
You can just come to us and concessions or the gelato. If you want to leave, we can help you. If you want to refund, we can pass and do everything. It's gonna have to wait for 30 minutes. Then we're gonna fast forward the trailers and then we'll start it.
Can we get the free pass after the movie?
Yes, you can get it after the movie. Yes. After everybody here get a free pass, even if you're not leaving or if you get a refund, I don't care.
Okay. So then you want to go?
So once again, this is what's happening. Every movie theater that's showing this movie, Sound of Freedom, they have some type of weird occurrences that happen in this theater, and they end up telling people, well, it's not showing, you just gotta come back later, watch it. Here's another situation.
There were other people in here, and now they're all gone. And the radio's playing over the movie. Lights are
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get copyright over this one, but
still on. Radio is still playing, but they restarted the movie.
and this has been occurring all over the nation of this movie. Now, here's another person who's breaking this movie down.
If you haven't heard yet, there's this new movie out called Sound of Freedom that's become so controversial, so heavily debated. Let's discuss. Sound of Freedom is a movie about child trafficking. It didn't have a big budget. None of the streamers wanted it, but now it's making millions and millions in the box office. Many mainstream media outlets have said the movie buys into conspiracy theories and nobody should go and see it. But if you're like me, sometimes when people say don't look at something, don't watch something, don't listen to someone, it makes me more intrigued. I also think even if the movie is 50% true, 20% true, child trafficking is still a major issue. Hundreds of thousands of kids go missing every single year in this country alone. So why is it a bad idea to bring these ideas and these issues out to the forefront? In full disclosure, because y'all know I always keep it real, I haven't had a chance to see the movie yet. It just came out. I'm traveling. But the fact of the matter is, many of these mainstream media outlets, they loved and praised shows like Toddlers and Tiaras, Dance Moms, which portrayed kids in a really interesting light to be ogled at and looked at. I think many of these mainstream media outlets forget that we had a very famous child trafficker cavorting with the political elite and heads of state all around the world on a private island, and they protected him for years. Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking kids for decades, and the media didn't cover it until they absolutely had to. And I'm gonna refrain from showing pictures out of respect, but we've had kids in cages at the border. Many of them go unaccounted for. We can never keep track of them. We don't know where they go. So I understand Hollywood and the mainstream media, they do not like this movie because they are not profiting from it. They're not benefiting from it. But remember, all these people protected Harvey Weinstein for decades. I mean, Oprah was buddying up to Harvey Weinstein. So if I go see Sound of Freedom and it's wacky, I feel like it deserves criticism, I will tell you guys because I'm an open book and I love that we can have these open dialogues. But at the end of the day, movies are meant to spark discussion. They might need to be a little controversial to get things going, to move them into the social consciousness. So we'll just have to wait and see. You guys drop some comments. Tell me if you've seen the movie, if you're planning on going to see the movie. Thank you guys for liking and following. I love that we can keep it real, have open discussion.
All right. And this is another video that I want to show y'all about this. The reason why I'm doing this tonight, y'all, is that I want to, like I say, this is not a conspiracy, but this is actual awareness. Because like I say, when I asked y'all earlier, did y'all know about that this movie was out, overwhelmingly, every last one of y'all said, nope, I didn't know nothing about this at all, Urban. So I'm just bringing awareness to y'all about what's really going on and why it's happening the way it is. Now, this is a interview from Tim Ballard, right? I don't know if y'all familiar with Tim Ballard, but during the time when former President Trump was in office, he was talking to him back in 2019 about the trafficking, especially around the borders and stuff, right? So let's listen.
This little girl was kidnapped in Central America, 11 years old, groomed for 2 years, with the intent of getting her ready to come to America. Why? Because we are the highest consuming nation of child pornography. We are the clientele that's the big money. They brought this little girl through a part of the southern border where there was no wall, easily got her to New York City, and this is hard to hear, but this is the truth, and everyone needs to hear this. This little girl, and this is very typical, raped for money every day 30 to 40 times a day. If that's not a crisis, if that's not an emergency, I don't know what is. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you very much. I spent 12 years as a special agent, as an undercover operator, working on the southern border, working sex trafficking cases. And I can tell you, you're exactly right. One little girl I can tell you about, in fact, I introduced this little girl to Miss Trump during a private briefing. This little girl was kidnapped in Central America, 11 years old, groomed for 2 years, with the intent of getting her ready to come to America. Why? Because we are the highest consuming nation of child pornography. We are the clientele that's the big money. They brought this little girl through a part of the southern border where there was no wall, easily got her to New York City, and this is hard to hear, but this is the truth, and everyone needs to hear this. This little girl, and this is very typical, raped for money every day, 30 to 40 times a day. If that's not a crisis, if that's not an emergency, I don't know what is. Now let me say this, had there been a wall, had there been a barrier, this little girl likely would have been saved because the traffickers would have been forced to take this child through the port of entry where we have amazing law enforcement. I've worked with these people. These are the best people on the planet. They can detect, they have equipment, they have trained agents. In contrast, while this was happening, I was working another case. A little boy, a Mexican boy who was kidnapped by an American trafficker by a child pornographer. He kidnapped Mexican children, brought them to San Bernardino County, where he had a makeshift studio, made child porn with these little children, 5 years old. This little boy was kidnapped in Mexicali, Mexico, where there was a wall, where there is a barrier, and so he was forced to take this little boy through the Calexico port of entry, and guess what? It worked. We captured him. We rescued the little boy, and subsequently rescued 12 other children in San Bernardino, California. The difference between those two cases is 2 + 2 = 4. The wall was the difference. The wall rescued this little boy, and the lack of a wall caused this little girl to go through a hell that is indescribable, that is not manufactured. It is a real crisis. It is a real emergency.
Now, I want to stop it right there. All right. Now, this is like I said, this was like one of the main reasons why during former President Trump reigned as president, he was making a strong emphasis about building the wall. It wasn't to try to keep Mexicans or Hispanic out of not only just out of the country, but also the covert operation was that they was trying to limit the trafficking that was happening. Okay. And this is the reason why tonight I'm sharing this with y'all. Now, I'm sharing this with y'all that not only this story, which we know this story overall is a hoax. Y'all can look at it in this point of view, right? Y'all can look at this as a movie, all right? Just watching a movie. Actors portraying a role. That's pretty much what Carlee was doing. That's pretty much what her family was doing. Just portraying a role to emphasize a point. And the point is that they want people to be aware of that trafficking is out there. That is people that could come out there and abduct people at any given time. Now, how the way they did it was, as we all could agree, very distasteful. The story didn't add up. I don't know what possessed her to use a toddler in this story. I don't know. But the whole driving point of it is that is real. One other thing too that I want to emphasize with y'all too. Well, actually, I want to point this out to y'all too. Y'all remember also by a couple of years ago, right? We always looking at different TikTok videos, right? It was like different TikTok videos. We was seeing different YouTube shorts, IG videos where it was people that was tying things up to people's car and stuff, right? And they were saying that if you remove this thing from this car, that it has some type of chemical component to it where it will either make you sleepy or it will knock you out, or they'll tie this thing on the person's car to target their car, and they will follow that person in a van or a white van or a black van or whatever, end up abducting that person. Y'all remember that?
That's pretty much the same situation that is happening right now. But the one thing about it is that now they're doing a push to emphasize this message through this situation with Carlee. Now, once again, is it distasteful? Absolutely it is. Is it fabricated? Absolutely it is. We know it is. We all have common sense, so we know that everything that she was saying was a straight up lie. We know that. For the moment when she went through the process of finding out about different things and doing the whole action, we know that. Oh, and there's one other point that I want to make too. When they was doing their investigation, they made another emphasis, right? They made an emphasis where they had went to the Secret Services, right? And the Secret Service had implemented what? They had implemented a search on her phone. The reason why I want to bring this up to y'all is because this is bringing up privacy, all right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, we do not have privacy, period. I don't care how much you try to hide your information. I don't care if you have a VPN on your phone. We do not have privacy like you think you do. Our privacy is limited. I mean, we only have limits on our privacy. Now, let a situation like this happen where, alleged kidnapping has happened. Notice how they invaded her privacy. But they said they did it for the sake of the investigation, for the sake of the community. So that should be having y'all think about this, right? What if some things were to happen where this same government or this same agency or this same law enforcement will invade your privacy for the sake of the community? Not us as the community, but the community that they're alleging that it is. Guess what they're going to do? You're right. They're going to invade your privacy. They're going to go through your search history or your mobile devices. They're going to go through your search history through your laptops, your computers, and everything. Because they feel that they have a right to do that. Hell, they're doing it right now. Everybody IP address is being monitored for quality and assurance purposes. All of us. And all this is packaged together. Now, I promise Taylor that I'm not doing conspiracy. I'm just stating the truth about what's going on. So I want y'all to think about this from a different perspective, all right? Not what they throwing out there to you, what they regurgitated to you to want you to believe. And here's one other thing, one last thing too, then I'll be done with this podcast. Whenever a story goes national with a person interest that's not as important, right? That should automatically give you a red flag right then and there to make you do your own investigation to find out why. Why are they doing this? Why is there an agenda behind this? Just like with all this protesting that been happening out here, there's a reasoning behind that. The protesting, the alleged police brutality, the alleged Black Lives Matter, the alleged Blue Lives Matter, the alleged trafficking, all of this is tied up and packaged together, y'all, for a reason. But it's up to us as citizens of this country to understand what is going on and do your due diligence and stop allowing these professionals to use psychology behavior on you to manipulate you into believing a certain narrative instead of investigating the whole truth of it. So that's pretty much it, y'all. That's all I got on this. That's my take on this. That's my perspective on this. So that's that. Once again, I appreciate everyone tuning into this podcast tonight. Hey, what's up, Sal Patch? Appreciate you tuning in. Psychology, Ye, Taylor Made, PMP, everyone who are watching in the bushes as well too. Appreciate y'all tuning in to this podcast. Now, I hope that once again, my whole point of this is that I wanted to give y'all a different perspective about this, just to get you thinking. All right. So, y'all let me know what y'all think in anyone comments. Talking about if they trying to find me. Yeah, exactly. That's why they got all these stuff alerted. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about all this. Do y'all agree with my findings? How the way I put this together for y'all? Or you don't agree with it? Let me know in the comments, y'all. Until then, I'll see y'all again on the next episode of the podcast, all right? And I got some more stuff that I'm going to drop to y'all, especially with this AI stuff. But I'm going to say that for y'all. But when I present it, it's going to be something, all right? So, y'all have a good night.